Okay. Well, uh, camera's not working for some reason. This has been happening a lot recently. What up, guys? Good morning. I guess we got to get going, right? It's 8:01. I don't know what it is. Is it the computer or is it the camera? The camera is working on its own, but the device is no longer detected by the system. Was it unplugged? I hate this stuff, guys. I have another way of doing this, actually. Let me try something real quick. Will this work? This might work too good. Does that make sense? No, stay down. Okay, maybe it won't work. Hold on. Oh, this was gonna be a perfect. I don't know what it is sometimes with this camera because it's showing that it is not even plugged in. But I assure you, I bet I just have to restart the computer or something. But hold on, let me do something else real quick because I have another camera. And I hope it stays still. So annoying. Like, there we go. It's not even the view I would want. It's not even how I would want it to look or anything. Computers, electronics, what is going on? And yeah, it's not even a choice for me to select, even though it's on and it's in front of me. The thing is plugged in. This show isn't really supposed to be about troubleshooting, guys. I apologize. But part of it is, let me plug this back in. Instead of like preparing right away, I spent all morning finishing up what I can for Mobile Suit Fleet Battle. Which again, damn, computer. It's like I'm more mad at the computer right now. Yeah, it says missing. But how could it be missing? You Yeah, I'm mad. That's right. I'm always mad at electronics. Okay, let me try something. Okay, it's like I could just go on with the show, but I'm like, no. 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 Okay. Oh, there we go. I hate you, camera. Okay, so that was it. Oh my god, it was. I unplugged. There's like 3 chains of USB to get. No, 1, 2, and I had to unplug the one that was at the computer, not on the. Whatever. Let's just get on with it, shall we? I did start a little late. First of all, what have I been playing? Exophase hasn't been updating. I played a little bit of Lego Batman yesterday. That's really about it. I wanted to complete that and get through it. I don't think I've played much else, actually. Um, okay, let's see. The main guys, there's a main thing here I'm wanting to share with you, and that is the fact that actually I have to change this up. I think the site. Hold up. There we go. Mobile Suit Fleet Battle is on itch.io right now. There's the Windows version, the Apple version, but oh my gosh, another game dev thing I learned. I found a bug in the production version, the non-project version. And that's just something you do have to look out for. I launched the game, I tested it. The only thing I didn't do, which this was an easy miss, was I didn't click options. So now in the main game right now, this version, if you click options, the options menu moves up to the top left. It's not like that in the project file when testing. It was just only in the exe. So that could be fixed, and I'm gonna have to update this. But in the meantime, you can like fully play the game. The game is available and fully playable. And I have some screenshots here that I chose based on cool shots. This is in the demo mode where you can just kind of see things without the UI. Here's shots of Salamis pulling up on the enemy ship. Just what it looks like, you know, when you look on the right-hand side, all the different Pegasus class cruisers. Here's shots of Musai battling, and then a whole bunch of Salami. And then you can just see the different, you get the machine guns from the Zakus, you get the beam blasts from the Salami. So it's just so cool to like I don't even know what to do next. Like all of this stuff is up, it's available. You can play it right now. The only problem is that bug. Let's actually do something real quick. Although I do want to. Oh, okay. So my main camera is back on all the scenes. Okay. So since we're here, let me launch this latest build just real quick. Let's see if options had fixed yet. Oh, it's fixed. Thank you. The options aren't really a big deal. That's where you get to the manual demo. You can link account with Gundam Explained. So if you're a member, your achievements actually link to your profile on the GundamExplained.com website. Excellent. Well, guys, this is available to play. I'm not going to play it right now. I've been playing it too much. I want to move on. I have to... I do have to upload the latest version. Actually, let me tell Claude that worked. I'm sure there's going to be other bugs I find. Just knowing how hard game dev is now and seeing games that I play, and actually let me switch. Games that I play that get updates or I run into a bug on my own. Like I can only imagine just me by myself how much harder that's going to be. So let me create a new build, and then I gotta upload that to itch. And actually, maybe we can all do it together. Just so you see what I'm doing here. Edit game. Here we go. More. Yeah, let's delete that and let's just upload the new one that I have. Where is it? That builds Windows. There we go. Got to get this up quick because I'm already posting about this. We got to see it through, That bug was so crazy. It was the only, and it's like you can still play it. Let me make sure that is everything I want. We're going to move this up and we're going to, oh, does that mean, yeah, we already got it in there. I just need to save. Oh. So that's funny, right? I launch a game, a complete game for the first time. And I know I have the shmup up there, but I don't really count that. But I launched this game for the first time. Runs great. I even was playing the executable, ran great. I just never clicked options, and I should have. And, well, here we are. But the updated version is now there. I am super proud of that. If you go to, and I know I'm kind of talking about myself right now, but that's okay. If you go to adamblue.com, the top right, is that showing up on here? Yeah. Top right, it's kind of blocked off, but there's game dev. I have Squadron Savers and Mobile Suit Fleet Battle. If you go to GundamExplained.com under Explore, there's the link for MS Fleet Battle. Now on this page, this is where you can actually link your account with the game if you're a member, and it syncs your trophies or achievements. So, all right, so that's what I've been up to in terms of gameplay. And yeah, it hasn't been a lot of game playing, but game building. But let's actually move into some interesting news. So this popped up. Hasbro records 56 million write-down after scrapping several video games, which is very interesting because I think Hasbro was the company that just has IP that you could just, you know, you don't have to make these highly technological advanced games. You can make some simple games with cool IP. Um, so let's see. Exodus and Warlock, 2 new titles planned for release in 2027, which is set in the D&D universe, remains in development. Okay. That makes sense. With the success of D&D like games, you would think, you'd want to continue those. But for me, it's like there's G.I. Joes, Transformers, Power Rangers, and they did come out with the G.I. Joe and Power Rangers game about 2 years ago, which were not bad games, but did not live up to the expectations I think a beat 'em up could have. There's so many other beat 'em ups that I could compare to that are just better, but only better in terms of the solidification of the mechanics versus the player control. There's something that was missing in the Power Rangers game, and they even patched in more combat mechanics later. I hadn't even played since they did that. That was the Power Rangers one. The G.I. Joe one, that one was rough. I want to say it really got to a point where people just gave up on the game because people were wanting some updates. I don't know. I love beat 'em ups. That should be a game I make next. But they didn't cut it. So I mean, it's funny because then there was that G.I. Joe game that came out years ago, not too long ago, but it was like a third-person action game, and that wasn't like a AAA experience, but it was a fun time. Actually, let me look that up real quick. How many different G.I. Joe games have I played? Yeah, Operation Blackout. This is the one I was talking about. I guess I played on Xbox One. 6 hours and 49 minutes. To me, that was worth the time. I had fun with that. And then Wrath the Cobra, 2 hours and 54 minutes. Only 2 achievements? I could see myself going back to that. I wonder if there's updates that's kind of changed the game quite a bit. I'm really curious about that. Okay, let's see what's next. Key new Xbox employee leaves after 3 months, but reporter argues it's a non-story. So, personal update, I've joined Cognition to lead engineering. I'm grateful to Asha Shah and everyone at Xbox for an amazing year. Excited for this next chapter with Scott Wu, 46. So Cognition, I'm not too familiar with that. It's an AI engineering company. I mean, that kind of makes sense if you're already at that echelon of engineering. We've come to a moment, in my opinion, this is a real thing where video games aren't as big of a deal to, like John Carmack, for instance. John Carmack is a wizard. And this was at a time, and he was a wizard. He still is. I guess what I'm trying to say is, when he was making and being creative in the way he was, video games were that top form of hobbyist, enthusiast, coding, all that stuff. But I think those same type of people then nowadays aren't going to be attracted to game development. They're going to be attracted to probably the AI engineering. Because there's something, when developing video games, not that I was doing it, but I just mean from like John Carmack, those early days, the 80s, 90s, where you were writing to the hardware. And I think there's a term for that. The code, you were into the late 90s and 2000s, there was a lot of engines out where they were still coding, but a lot of it was already done. So that kind of enthusiast sort of coder programmer leaves the culture of game dev in a way. And I guess that's okay. There's still going to be those that enjoy it. But I think this is just a sign of like mainstream gaming moving forward. Yeah. So let's see. An Xbox VP at engineering, not leading engineering, recently left because an AI company flooded with absurd amounts of VC money made him a multi-million-dollar offer that no sane person would refuse. There's no story here. Perhaps besides AI operating in a total fantasy land. I would say the dollars in AI fantasy land are real, and the products are too. But this is the problem that gaming will encounter over and over until gaming finds a way to be more valuable than AI, which is possible. Yeah, so I'm glad Dean Takahashi said that. He's a longtime game journalist, and I'm glad he's actually pushing back on Jez. Jez, younger, doesn't have the proper journal, which is fine. You don't need proper journalism education, I guess, really. But if you're going to be taken seriously with what you're talking about, Jez, I don't take him seriously. And then he even makes the takes, which again, everyone makes takes that are pulling out of their ass because no one's an expert in these fields. Otherwise, they would be in those fields professionally. But Jez, you see people like Jez and others that are really big into gaming and they're online all the time and they hate AI. They automatically be like, "There's no money in AI." Yeah, there is. As someone that's currently unemployed and working to better myself and all that, yeah, AI is the future. I mean, it's no different than the .com bust where the internet was the future, but it got a little too much extreme on one end and it caused a bunch of bubbles to burst. Yeah, because it was a .com bubble. Yeah, and it's the same thing with AI. There's going to be the AI stuff that doesn't work because people didn't really know how to. Man, I feel like I'm okay with my sentence structure today, but certain specific words I'm having trouble kind of like pulling out of my ass. Like, I don't want to have to say that. But anyway, back to Dean Takahashi. Am I following him? No, I probably should. Yeah, and just says AI evaluations will come back down to earth eventually. Sure, I guess, but that has really nothing to do with that. I mean, this guy from Xbox, it's not like he was just some regular dude filling a role. I mean, he already had pedigree and expertise in what he does. So there's always going to be roles for that. And like even me, as much as I think I might be an expert in stuff, I think it's more my knowledge is more broad instead of deep into one specific thing, maybe other than gaming. So I think even with my roles, it's hard to really be like, oh yeah, be the pro at just this, something like that. Okay. Man, it's been a crazy morning between getting that game up and then the bug, but then getting that fixed. Crazy times. But I don't think there's been much news because, to be honest, the video game cycles on Twitter, YouTube have been so boring. It's just people just talking about the PlayStation physical media when it's like, it's interesting. And actually, let me pull it up because I feel like people need to be aware of this. Like, so if you like video games and you want to, there we go, you want to go online and talk about it. Sometimes what you want to talk about is flooded or drowned in that sort of vocal minority that thinks gaming should be a certain way. And so what happens here is like, one, no, gaming shouldn't be that way. But two, then there's no one to really have these conversations with. You know what I was just talking about with John Carmack and wizard programmers in the past, that nowadays those people would move on to other things like AI engineering. What this does is leaves a void to where most of the hobbyist enthusiast of video games are the non-touch grass type of people. So most then discussion isn't going to be intelligent online. And like, for instance, Spawnwave, someone, he has 767,000 subscribers, posts a video every morning. Every morning, PlayStation, backlash, the truth is coming. Like, it's unfortunate that what, for instance, Spawnwave has become in his content output is more of a reflection of the conversation on Twitter, when we've learned the conversation on Twitter isn't the total gaming discourse that is going on. It's a small slice. But people like Spawnwave, Mystic Ryan, and there's others too, they latch on to, okay, what's everyone complaining about online? Let's make videos about it. And what this does is it gets in the way of the real issue that's going on, and it's that Sony, and I think I talked about it before, Sony is this corporate entity. We should not be looking up to them to be the arbiters of physical media. And so last week, while I'm doing my game dev stuff and then looking up news online, it's really everyone complaining about PlayStation. And part of it is, too, PlayStation isn't saying too much. Now, that could be on purpose, or it could be just, like, for one, I don't think they have to say anything about the physical. They already said they were not going to do it. They don't need to go back. They won't go back. They're not this type of company. They never have been. And even someone in one of the comments, or in the comments of one of Spawnwave's videos, was saying, "Yeah, I'm a video game. I have a physical store, whatever, and it's hard to get allocation from Sony." And it's like, yeah, Sony has been this way the whole time. When the Dreamcast came out, they even made their allocation difficult. You carry Dreamcast games, you're not going to carry Sony products. So companies, retailers were like, well, then I guess we'll just carry Sony products. And that killed the Dreamcast. That was one of the many reasons. So it's not like anything has changed. And we see, and again, that's what happens. The real effort we could put into making a change in the game industry is drowned by people on Twitter not knowing what they're talking about, and then influencers using those arguments and languages in videos. So at the end of the day, we're never getting to the root of the problem and moving on. It's unfortunate. It's also unfortunate. I keep bringing that up. It is kind of annoying. I don't know. I did not have anything. Look, today has been crazy. I had no idea what I was going to be doing. I've got. Hey, you know what, guys? This is what I'm going to do. Hey, Jonas, what's going on? Yeah, Jonas, I'm glad you brought this up. Let's hope Sony will reverse their decision with the discs. They won't. They won't at all. I mean, look, PC gaming is a bigger platform than PlayStation. And PC gaming hasn't had physical releases in years. And no one's cared because the majority of people, again, PC being a bigger platform than PlayStation, the majority of people actually don't care about their experiences and, being physical. And David Jaffe said the perfect thing yesterday, and I know it's so hard for people to understand in a modern 2026 materialist society, but people are way too materially protective. When I feel like if something like, oh no, you can't have your video game physical anymore, I feel like there's bigger things to then put effort in than that. Like, I've brought it up before. Like, there's so many little things that it's like, well, if we're constantly focusing on that, we're never going to get anywhere. It's a very interesting thing. I mean, I wonder if I discovered meditation before or after I sold my video game collection. I want to say it was before, though, but I want to say meditation would help with that because once, for me, it was 6 months every morning, 30 minutes. Then it became an hour where I totally rewired my brain. It was when I was working at Microsoft, actually. And there was a fall. It was like that last part of that year, I think. But it was 6 months, or maybe it was 4 months. Where, yeah, every morning I was meditating, and it just made my mind more clear. I accepted things a little more. I was able to detach myself from things that really didn't matter. Because a lot of times, oh, you want this physical game. Why do you want it physical? So it's there so you can look at it, which I agree. I have Xenoblade, the games I like. But do you need to have everything physical? And then what do you do when you pass away? What happens to that stuff? Did you have a plan for it? It's not going to go with you. And that's things that I've had to think about too with my physical media, my action figures. And I got a ton of stuff here. But at the same time, if something got to where it was too, well, I guess I have the stuff and it makes me happy, but none of what makes me happy in my life is reliant on this. This could be gone tomorrow, and that's completely fine. But I think there's people that and this is a very common thing. And again, I'm not trying to knock people. I'm just trying to say this is kind of the society we live in, where people are very hypnotized by the accumulation of stuff and material things, and you start to create an identity. You start, projecting an identity onto that if you don't have other things in life that you can hang on to. For me. Some of my grounding that works really well, not only the meditation, mindfulness, but walking outside, being outside. I do it all the time throughout the day. That's why when I stream, I only stream for like 30 minutes. When I do my streams with Steven, it's like an hour. I think the longest I streamed was when Requiem for Vengeance dropped. The whole thing. It was like 2 hours. You could watch the whole thing, but I took a break after an hour because I just can't sit for an hour. And it's not that I can't, it's just mentally I've been able to kind of wire myself to be like, hey, Adam, you need to go. And part of this has to do with experience. There was a time where I lost the ability to walk, and I had to crawl everywhere. And we had a 2-story house, so that was annoying getting upstairs. eventually I found out it was some very basic stretching that I could do every day that I would naturally get by touching grass, by just being outside. And so by marrying the sort of being in tune with nature and the physicality of how I move my body, I was able to sort of create this grounding that it doesn't matter what happens with video games, movies, toys. It's this kind of centered self that I can get into when anything bad's going on, like when I lost my job and the people there just kind of cut me off immediately and I couldn't talk to anyone. It was actually kind of depressing. Yeah, and again, I remember escaping outside a lot, and I say escaping, but that's kind of like to get out of the zone, be outside. And I think what happens though is physical things, you might then supplant your emotions onto that. And that's what I'm trying to say. I think it's okay if you want to collect physical media, but you have to be very deliberate in not making it take over the sort of grounding you have in life. Yeah, I know that's all a lot of weird philosophical stuff to say, but it's been a very strange month for me. It's very, and good reason, for good ways, bad, all that. But I think that's it, guys. Check out the Gundam Battlefleet RTS on PC. Let me know what you think. Let me know of any bugs. I think right now I'm going to take a break from game dev just for a little bit because I'm going to be making something else, but I need some time to like clear my head. Again, this is that grounding. I finished one thing and I'm going to kind of ground myself before jumping into another. And that also helps with video games. That might sound odd, but you know how sometimes you might be like, I don't know what to play. I don't know what to play. And I have all this stuff. And then a lot of that is not being intentional and not having grounded yourself in intention. So anyway, that's from Uncle Adam. All that nonsense that no one, my immediate kids don't even listen to me about a lot of this stuff. So anyway, guys, I'm going to head out. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, so I'll be back tomorrow with the Gundam Explained morning show and then the Gundam Explained show later. But actually today, I'll be on Steven's Midnight Hatter live. Can't wait to sync back up with him and talk whatever. So that should be fun. All right, guys, heading out. Have a good one.